Okay, so these are the your turn videos. So hopefully you've tried these problems and you're looking for the solution to make sure you got them right. So we're going to start off with this x squared minus 6x minus 16 equal to 0. Again, we love it when it's already equal to 0 because that means we don't have to do anything. We can go straight to factoring. And do our two parentheses, lead off with x. Again, we need two numbers that multiply to a negative 16. The second thing they need to do is add to a negative 6. Again, with this combination of signs, we know they're going to be opposite signs, and that the larger number is negative. Okay, so now we're looking at negative 16. So we could do 1 and negative 16, but that would give us negative 15, so that's not correct. I'm going to just go up the line. So we could do 2 and negative 8. Oop, there we go. Right off second one we tried, negative 6. So this would end up being plus 2 minus 8 equal to 0. So then we're going to take each one of these guys and set them equal to 0. So x plus 2 equals 0. X minus 8 equals 0. So on this first one, we're going to subtract 2 from both sides. So x is equal to negative 2. There's one answer. And on the second one, we are going to add 8 to both sides. So x equals a positive 8. And there is your second answer. All right, let's look at the second one here. We have n squared minus 10n plus 22 equals a negative 2. Again, we need it to be equal to 0. So the first thing we want to do is add that 2 to both sides. So we get n squared minus 10n plus 24 equals 0. So now we're going to factor. Oops, let me put my two parentheses out there first. So I'm going to do my two parentheses. I'm going to lead off with n, since that's my variable here, still equal to 0. The first thing it needs to do is multiply to a positive 24. And then the second thing it needs to do is add to a negative 10. And remember, with this combination, that means both signs are negative, okay? Because I've got to have two negatives to multiply to give me that positive 24. I need the two negatives so they add together to give me a negative value there. Now be really careful. 24 is one of the ones that can be really tricky because we think we see the 10 and it's actually not. And a lot of people will do 12 or 2 and 12. And that's true. If just one of them were negative, that would totally give us 10. But remember that they both have to be negative. So when you add that together, it actually gives you negative 14. So be really careful when you're doing this with your signs because it's so easy, especially with numbers like 24 that have a lot of multiples or a lot of factors to them, to pick the wrong thing. So just be really, really careful on those signs. So let's try negative 3 and negative 8. That's going to give us negative 11. So that one didn't work. This one didn't work. What about negative 4 and negative 6? Oh, there it is, negative 10. There's our pair. So we've got n minus 4 and n minus 6. And again, now we're going to take each one of these and we're going to set them equal to 0. So n minus 4 equals 0. Same thing over here. N minus 6 equals 0. And now here we're going to add 4 to both sides. So our first answer is going to be n equals 4, right there. And then here we're going to add 6 to both sides. And we're going to get n is equal to 6. There's our second answer. All right, so let's try this last one. Again, we're not equal to 0 starting off, so the first thing we need to do is subtract that 6 from both sides. Be real careful with your signs on this guy. So he's going to be p squared plus 3p, and then these are both negative, so I'm going to add them together to get negative 18 equal to 0. So let's do our two parentheses. This time we're going to lead off with a p since that's the variable we have in our problem. Okay, we need to multiply to a negative 18, and we need to add to a positive 3. Again, talking about this combination of signs. Remember, because we're multiplying to a negative, we know that they are going to be opposite signs. And because we have to add to a positive, we know that the larger number is positive. And guys, the more you practice factoring, the easier it gets to see these patterns without having to write anything down. So just keep on practicing factoring. So now we have negative 18. Okay, so we could do 2 and 9, and again my larger number is positive, so that would be a negative 2. If I added that together, that would give me 7. So that's not going to work, but it's not too far off. We could do negative 3 and 6. Oh, look at that. That's going to give me my positive 3 that I wanted. So again, in my parentheses, I'm going to do p minus 3, p plus 6 equal to 0. So I'm going to take the first one here, set it equal to 0, p minus 3 equals 0. Take the second part here, set him equal to 0, so p plus 6 equals 0. Again, solve each one of these for p. So on this first one, we're going to add 3. So my first answer is that p is equal to 3. Over here, we're going to subtract 6. So we're going to get p is equal to negative 6. And this is my second answer.